So, I recently ran a poll on our community page asking which of these three speakers that you wanted to hear more about. The Boot Card S400, the KLH Model 5, and the Golden Ear BRX. Unfortunately for the little BRX, it came in last place. So, and I'm not kidding, this video is not about the Golden Ear BRX. Before we dive in, this video is being sponsored by Safe & Sound, and while they aren't responsible for sending me these speakers, they do carry Golden Ear products and love what they bring to the table. With lifetime technical support, flexible payment options, and a large selection of Golden Ear models to choose from, including these little holographic high-resolution wonders, which this video is not about, Safe & Sound will be thrilled to get you up and running in a quick hurry. All the links that you need are down below, and please do tell them that Ron sent ya. They are awesome to work with and will get you rocking out in no time. I cannot pull myself away from this amplifier. Loaded with 12 AX7s and 6550s, the F35 from Black Ice Audio is a no-nonsense tube amplifier that when push comes to shove, this amp will have you wondering why anyone in their right mind would ever bother with anything else. Yes, it is that good. Even more when we have a speaker that dances in the time domain that offers that last bit of legit air and extension on top, let's say between 10K and 20K, and a speaker that was born with the DNA to disappear, such as rounded corners, minimal diffraction points on the front of the baffle. What you have in that combo is what will keep most audiophiles and hi-fi enthusiasts happy for years to come. This combo is the kind of combo that leads to one road: listening to music and forgetting about the gear. So here's the way I see it. Tubes indeed do something in the midband that either some folks will love and some folks won't. Granted, as I say that, I realize it's a bit of a blanket statement and it needs a lot more context to really establish some truth. So let me try it again. Sometimes, depending on topology, tube type, power supply choices, and parts used, most tube amplifiers will open up the midband in a way that is musical, open, and free. But listen to me, this isn't the only thing that great tube amplifiers do. Sure, the mid-range is critical, but great tube amplifiers like the F35 hoist up the midband on the shoulders of incredible top end and powerful deep bass. Now, when we have a speaker like this BRX, which this video is not about, where the overall presentation does ride the line of being a little bit cleaner, a little more pristine, and sure, some might say clinical, what do? Well, after spending decades of being a mad scientist audiophile, I gotta say that what the doctor ordered in these kinds of scenarios is almost always a great sounding tube amplifier, but it does come with a small disclaimer. Upper mid-range is tricky. Do you want to hear a Marshall JTM45 cranked to the hilt through your speakers or not? Before you answer that, let me remind you, while it's tempting to say, heck yes, and act like a tough guy, the truth is many audiophiles and hi-fi enthusiasts think they want this, but the truth is they typically don't. When cranking AC/DC on a speaker that is detail-centric or might have a frequency response with a little bit of bumps here and there, you must understand that there will be some frequencies that poke out a little bit more than others. And while the cranked JTM45 isn't necessarily the problem here, the BRX with a couple of peaks in the upper range of guitars just made it your problem. So, what do we do and how do we handle it? The answer, folks, is two things. First and foremost, play to the strengths of the speaker that you are working with. Give it what it wants and you will be rewarded. The BRX wants to disappear, so let it. The second that you move the BRX away from the walls, we reduce reflection caused by those walls. Next, when it comes to toe-in, or where the front of the speaker is pointing, treat it like a laser beam, and please do not point it at your head. Bad things will definitely happen. With the BRX, or any speaker that can get a little bit happy on top, pointing the speakers either face forward, straight into the room, or starting there and moving them in slowly will get you where you want to be. So yeah, upper mid-range on the BRX can indeed be tamed, and with the glory of tubes behind it, you still get that insane open holographic and wide soundstage. What about the possibility of something like some female vocals sounding soft while others pop out a little bit too much? Well folks, dips in a response, as long as it's nothing that is extreme, are almost always easier to combat than a peak. With the BRX, I did notice that this can happen from time to time, but getting them out on the dance floor, having them pointing somewhere around my shoulders, was the saving grace of the peaks. As for the dips, did I mention that this video is not necessarily about the Golden Ear BRX? And did I mention just how incredible that the F35 is? Look, I'm not saying that it's gonna fix everything, and I'm not saying that solid state amplifiers can't do this, but it has been my experience that having that presence, there it is, presence, that's the key word. It's been my experience that those dips do get a little bit of help from presence. Another option, EQ it.
What did you say?
I'm being serious. If you have an EQ, try it and see what happens. Depending on where it is and how bad it might be, you might be able to get things under control with just a small boost. Just remember this, that in either example, tubes or EQ, you didn't fix anything. The dip is still there, and for those that miss this point in dumb things that audiophiles believe, it's that. The speaker is still broken. Even if you like it more, it's still broken. Got it? Okay, cool. Let's move on. Mid-bass and bass. So look, this is where solid state typically shows up and throws its weight around, and being totally honest, with the deepest of deep bass control and grip, I do think that it's hard to beat solid state in that arena, but I must remind you, when it comes to detail and texture, this F35 or any great sounding tube amplifier is gonna pick a serious fight, and even more, don't think for even a second the bass dynamics is weak or can't dig down with authority, because that is far from the truth. The woofer material on the BRX appears to be paper cone, but I never got a confirmation on this. Either way, bass is pretty defined and offers nice texture and tone. While it's not the best in class and there are other paper cone bookies around, this price point that does give a little bit more resolution in bass and mid bass, have I mentioned this video is not, it's not really about the BRX. And have I mentioned just how insanely badass this F35 is? Similar as to how I feel about filling in some of those dips and pockets in the upper mid-range, I do believe that tubes can help extract that last bit of texture and tone that a woofer has to offer. That's what great sounding tube amps do, and that's exactly what the F35 did when I paired it with the Golden Ear BRX. Folks, here is the point of this video. Speakers that disappear and offer exceptional results in the time domain, when combined with tube magic, great tube amplifiers will do things that most other speakers and gear combos cannot possibly do. The Golden Ear BRX is one of those speakers. Its horizontal response looks good. Its vertical response looks good. It even offers a clean spectral decay and is designed with competence. While it's not for everybody, it's my hope that this video might help you understand that pairing the right amp with the right speaker can lead to endless nights of good music. And with that, I'll see you golden-eared audiophiles in the next video.